Hey everybody, NecroVMX here. Welcome to my channel, and you are listening to Potato Cast. Sorry for the late upload. It is after midnight, so even though I'm going to say happy Thursday to everyone, it is technically Friday, but, you know, fuck the police, whatever. I did warn you guys. Oh, Jesus. My phone has not gone off all night. As soon as I start recording, bloop. Let me put that on vibrate for you guys. There we go. All right. So, what I was saying was, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, when I made the new schedule, I told you guys Potato Cast might be late on certain days. Or on certain Thursdays, it just might happen. But that's just a thing, you know? Whatever, man. That being said, the big thing that I'm going to talk about this week, I don't have much to talk about. The big thing I'm going to talk about is E3, which is still going on. I do want to talk about E3 and some of the games that have been revealed and some of the games that have not been revealed but shown in more depth and whatnot, and just what I'm excited for and my thoughts on it as a whole. And but I'm not going to talk too much. I got a lot of shit to do today, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, and I don't have much to say. But before I do any of that, let me go to the comments from last week's episode. So let me just bring that up. I probably should have been prepared. Okay. So last week I talked a little bit about McJuggernuggets. Not really going to be talking about him much today other than answering the questions. Hold on a second. Any comments or questions about him. I talked about McJuggernuggets. I talked a little bit about Ghostbusters and my feeling about that, and that's another thing that I'm kind of done talking about at this moment. And I also talked about Hitomi. Now, I do want to give an update on that before I talk about anything else. Hitomi, she's very close to the goal. A bunch of you guys donated. I see Jared Heath gave her like $100. So that's good, and I noticed that people had been sharing it and whatnot, and she's at 350 out of 420, and she's very grateful, obviously. Check out her channel. She has two channels. She has Razzlin and X-Razzlin. X-Razzlin is the one that she is currently active under. It's XRAZZALYN. Check out her channel. Let's get to the questions and comments. So, alright. This one kind of pissed me off. This Mega Man 35990 guy posts Tanaka, like with a question mark. I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. So, and I had gotten a couple of really nonsensical comments before that. Like, already there were some comments that were, like, just completely idiotic. Like, Orange Moth, ooh, first one on the comments. Who gives a fuck? Like, congratulations. I hope you jerked yourself into a coma. Like, what the fuck? Why do people do that? You know, but then, this guy, Tanaka, so I said, what? Could I get one comment that makes sense? Somebody else came in and said, he's talking about a porn star, Hitomi Tanaka. Dude, you're an idiot, okay? Why would you think that I'd be talking about some fucking porn star? I'm talking about my friend, okay? My friend Hitomi. There are a lot of people named Hitomi. Why would she need this money? If she was a porn star, she would just do like another movie or something. And I've already explained that she's got fucking creepy guys trying to say, I'll send you money if you send me nudes sort of shit, which is bullshit. And she doesn't do that for a living, asshole. So, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and block this idiot. He's blocked. We don't have to deal with that anymore. Alright, Alex Shannon says, well, I can't donate. I will share the link on Twitter and Facebook. I know it's the least I can possibly do. I want to pause there. It's not the least you could possibly do. The least you could possibly do is nothing. You chose to do more than nothing, so don't feel bad about that, okay? Like I said, if you can't donate, that's fine. Just try to share the link. That's what you did. That's great. Don't feel bad. Don't think it's the least you could do. The least you could do is nothing. Alright, says, but it's all I can right now. In other areas, I probably wind up having to watch the new Ghostbusters so I can talk about it on the podcast I host, and it will probably wind up as a review for my website, because if I'm going to see it, then I'm going to try and get as much content out of it as I possibly can. See, I feel opposite of that. I don't want to do any content about it. I don't want to get content out of it. I I don't even really want to see it. There's a part of me that's morbidly curious that feels like, is it really going to be that bad, or could it possibly be good? But I don't care that much. He says, 5 years ago this October, I started writing reviews of everything I get my hands on. These days, it's leading me to places where I might wind up getting a profitable career out of it fairly soon. I love waxing poetic about turns of plot, for one thing, and I love to analyze. Oh, I gotta click read more. Analyze things. My God, is a long comment. All my life, I've had the mind of a critic, the kind of thing where I can pick out an obscure detail that others don't notice. Okay. Let me just, can I skip the pass? I'm going to skip the parts where he's jerking himself off here. Let's see. Jerking himself off. Okay. I think he came right about here. Okay. By the same token, good movies are fun to write about, too, while mediocre movies usually wind up irritating me in hindsight. Oh, so, all right, I gotta go back. So he's basically saying it's fun to write about bad movies, but not so fun to write about average movies. And I get that. I do get that. Bad games, on the other hand, usually irritate me for a while, since I have to dedicate time to documenting it and taking notes on top of the amount of time I usually spend playing the game. Still a good learning experience, but not as good as reviewing something that took up less of my life. Anyway, the latest video just got done processing, so I should probably head back to bed and post this comment finally. And Hitomi replied to him, thanking him. So, see? You've been thanked. The Anime Fan says, hashtag PotatoCast, I'm going to see the new Ghostbusters despite hate, unlike any Adam Sandler who just does the same old shit. Do you hate people who want their... Oh, God, dude. You know, I'm sorry, the Anime Fans. You got to work on your, like, English skills. I mean, let me just... Is this guy from out of the country? Because I think he might be from, like, Zimbabwe or something. I'm sorry, man. I can barely read what you write. It doesn't say on his YouTube where he's from. Alright, I'm going to read this exactly as he wrote it. I'm going to see the new Ghostbusters despite hate, unlike any Adam Sandler who just does the same old shit. Do you hate people who want their opinion validated as 100% as someone else's opinion? Okay, I think what you're trying to say is you're trying to ask me, am I irritated by people who feel that everybody has to agree with them? And yes. Yes, there are a lot of people, and they're all on the internet, who feel that anybody who disagrees with them is attacking them personally, and it's kind of crazy. And you know who is like that? My best friend Andrew, his mother is like that. She'll be waxing poetic about, like Donald Trump or something, and then he'll be like, "Well, I disagree." And he'll just say it like that, well, I disagree. And she'll be like, oh my God, you're not letting me have my opinion, you're infringing on my freedom of speech. And people get like that, and I do dislike it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I do dislike it. And he also says, he lists another comment. Also, what do you think about, what do you think and comic book fans wanting to see a DC versus Marvel movie? I think that it will never happen, simply because they had a DC versus Marvel comic in the 90s. It was pretty bad, actually, but... Just to get that going, they had to go through miles of red tape. Doing that as a movie, you're dealing with Disney and Warner Brothers. And Marvel wasn't even owned by Disney back then, and it was difficult for them to do it. Now, Disney and Warner Brothers haven't come together to do anything together since Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that was technically, I think Touchstone Pictures did, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and they bought the rights to certain Warner Brothers characters, and they bought the rights to certain Disney characters, and even then it was like the planets aligning, and it was very difficult for them to get all that together. So it wasn't even them coming together. I don't want to see a DC versus Marvel movie. I don't want to see that, because they're so different. They're so different, and as it is, I mean, no, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see, like, Iron Man making wisecracks about Batman, and I just, no, that would be awful. Brandon Kaplan says, "Grats for getting under 250 men. Keep up the awesome work." Oh, you're referring to my weight, yeah. It kind of stagnated. I weighed myself again this week, and it was the same as last week. But that's not that big. It didn't go up. That's the important thing. I've recently been exercising more, which sucks. I hate it, and I've been sore because of it. But hopefully that'll get it going again. Awkward Gamer Ronnie says, just out of curiosity, how tall are you? Well, I'm about 5'10" and a half. More like 6 foot if you count my hair. The Moogle Master says hashtag PotatoCast. Why do people keep saying well? It's just hashtag potato, but whatever. Well, the name of the show is hashtag PotatoCast. Should I go see the new Ghostbusters? I'm undecided whether to see it. Oh well. Any stream plans? I am probably going to stream after this. Actually, after I'm done recording this, I'm probably going to stream. I don't know. Should you see? Do you want to see Ghostbusters? That's the thing. I'm not seeing it because I don't want to see it. If you want to see it, go see it. If you don't want to see it, don't go see it. I'm not going to tell you to go see it or not to go see it. You may see it and hate it. You may see it and love it. I don't know what kind of movie it is, other than the fact that I didn't like the trailer, and I didn't like the second trailer, and I don't like the controversy surrounding it, so I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole right now. I mean, honestly, there's a part of me that really does want to see it. But then there's another part of me that says, if you see it, people are going to want to know your opinion, and if you give your opinion, no matter what your opinion is, you are going to get raped in the ass via the internet. And I like my ass the way it is, so not going to do that. Armageddon Time says, whatever you do for the McJuggernuggets thing, I'll support you, even if you were to totally stop it. I'm sorry, guys, I'm drinking way too much coffee right now. Even if you were to totally stop it, now there's daily content from many other things. VMX fans win either way. I think I can throw some cash at Tommy's way. You speak highly of her, and people that genuine who are in need deserve some help along the way. As for Ghostbusters, I'm totally seeing it in theaters and posting a review shortly after. I just want to stop and say, I mean, this is Jesse. Jesse saw Jem and the Holograms, and he was not a fan of the cartoon. You know what I mean? I think he never even saw the cartoon. He did a video where he was like lip syncing to the Jem theme song, and people assumed based on that he was a fan of the cartoon, and he's not. He just did that because it was hilarious, and it really was. But yeah, he did a long review of Jem and the Holograms, which I thought was pretty entertaining. I did not see Jem and the Holograms. I had no desire to. But, I mean, if anybody is going to do a good review of Ghostbusters, whether it's good or bad, it's going to be Armageddon Time. I mean, I would do a good review of it, except I don't want to. But if anybody's actually going to do it, it would be him. Let's see. Think of it as an extension of my Jem review style, except this time I'm looking forward to a good movie. Oh, I hope it's good. I sincerely hope it's good. I don't want it to be bad. Can't wait for more stuff from you and everyone else. Tune into List Critics 2, featuring me and Necro. Yes, we got to get that recorded soon. Carl Canine Lionheart Meaner says, I haven't finished watching the video yet, but there is something to consider while you're contemplating your decision whether or not to continue the expose. Yes, Jesse did come out as fake, however. Perhaps your expose can serve another purpose. See, that's kind of what I've been thinking, actually. But let me continue with what he says. Perhaps it can be used as a way to show kids how to look at a piece of content and figure out for themselves whether it's genuine or not. In other words, it can be used as a guide to demonstrate to them a skeptical mindset, which can help prevent them from being taken advantage of, again, by some other YouTuber or content creator in the future. By the way, I made my day when you read my comment in your video. Well, thank you. I wouldn't say to adopt a skeptical mindset. I would say to adopt a critical eye. But I get what you're saying, and I've kind of been leaning in that direction myself. I haven't worked on it in a while, but I'm thinking that I probably will continue the expose, but it is going to go under a rebranding. And it's going to be closer to what you've said. Stormcrow95 says, hashtag potato. Necro, have you heard that Adi Shankar is planning to do an animated adaptation of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse? And if so, then any thoughts? There's been talk about a Dracula's Curse movie, an animated movie, for a very long time, and I don't know why it never got off the ground. I mean, it was supposed to be an anime, and I don't know. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Adi Shankar, because he doesn't give a fuck. He just does it. He doesn't care if he doesn't have the rights, I mean, he made that Punisher short, Dirty Laundry, with Thomas Jane. He actually got Thomas Jane, who played the Punisher in the 2004 series, and who, in my opinion, was the best actor to play the Punisher, even including the guy who plays him now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who's very good, but he's not Thomas Jane. I gotta say that, Adi Shankar, I do follow him. I'm unaware if he's ever done animation, so it should be interesting, but, he is a guerrilla director. He will go in and just do it. He doesn't give a shit. So I'm curious to see what he'll do. But then again, video game movies, man, you know, if they're not like the first Tomb Raider or Silent Hill or the first Mortal Kombat or Postal, they're mostly bad. I mean, I just did a review of Warcraft last week and it was fucking terrible. So let me continue your comment here. Now, I know the news is actually a little over a year old. I didn't know about it until you mentioned it, actually. So, basically, but I figured since we're both avid Castlevania fans that you'd have thoughts, interesting or otherwise, on that. And also, thoughts on the Dark Souls comic book series announced this year, if you've heard of either of these things. I have not heard of that, but I wonder who's publishing that. Let me look into that. Because that could be like, if it's going to be like DC or Marvel, it's probably, I don't know, not going to be good. Dark Souls comic book, huh? Who's publishing this? That's what I want to know. I kind of think Dark Horse would do a good job with that. Oh, Titan Comics? I never heard of them. Titan Comics. Oh, they do Assassin's Creed comic. They do Doctor Who. They do. Oh, they publish Tank Girl now. I didn't know that they still that was still a thing. All right, well, they do a lot of video game comics. Dishonored as well. That I might have to check out. Dishonored is fucking cool. Yeah, okay. I don't have any thoughts on it other than I want to kind of check it out now. And for another one, just for fun, if you had a superpower out of any you could pick from, then what would it be and why? Yeah. Just one. Okay. All right. Because there's so many superheroes that I'm thinking of that they have like multiple superpowers. You know what I mean? And I was thinking like how cool it would be to have something like a Green Lantern's ring, but that's not a superpower. It's like literally a weapon. You know, and I would go with the healing factor. I would go with that. Because like if you think of like the healing factor like Wolverine or Deadpool has, like you never get sick. You're always in good health. Wounds heal super fast. You live longer. It's just, that's the best superpower, you know what I mean? You're pretty much indestructible. InQFish23 says, looking forward to the new content and movie reviews. I agree the journey is the destination in terms of movie viewing and rewatching. Good endings are powerful, but how we got there, the struggle the characters face, and what we invest in the characters and story is the heart of good storytelling. I agree, obviously, and also the fact that knowing what the ending is doesn't diminish it, otherwise we would never watch movies a second time. I mean, anyway. As far as McJuggernuggets, I'll repeat what I said in the Bad Person video. I think as a separate finale or potato cast to do a big picture overview on what Jesse and his scams mean for YouTube as fans, why kids don't believe, what will happen with Red Sun, etc., is a fascinating topic, and he's already being glamorized as a great content creator. I'm glad you're taking a break, and I plan on ignoring him after getting my thoughts on the whole Psycho issue together. Agreed on Ghostbusters, and I recommend the channel Midnight's Edge for a great amount of information on the new film and behind-the-scenes issues. I'm rewatching the 2 older installments that weekend. See, I don't want that. I want to shut out the whole Ghostbusters thing for a while. I'll watch it when it's on Netflix or something. You know, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to hear about troubles they're having. I don't want information. 2 trailers was enough for me to be soured on it. Congrats on the weight loss and your nephew Bobby. Best wishes to you and your family, Nick. Well, thank you very much for the great comment. BioPhoenix says, hey, that is great to hear about the weight loss. Pretty interesting that you did movie reviews years ago. Would have been cool if they were still up. But I'm always a fan of your movie reviews, so I'm pretty excited for that. Oh, I agree. People really do focus more on the score than the words, which can be annoying. I think you got auto-corrected. Yeah. I wish I had it. I might have to do some digging. Like, you know, the content may exist on a CD somewhere, or heaven forbid, a floppy disk, which I would have no way of accessing. But it's possible that it may exist. It just, as far as I know, it doesn't exist on the internet. So there's that. Nicholas Jones says, hashtag potato, I wish I could donate to Hitomi, but can't right now. Well, that's okay. Now a question. If you were given the chance to make a live-action Chronicles of a Dark Lord movie, What actors would you want to play the main characters such as Magus and Kazarth? Well, Kazarth's not a character. Kazarth is the Empire. And villain Antos. It's not Antos, it's Anto. Me and Tanya have talked about this a few times, and I think that it would be bad news if it was a movie, because the story's too long for a movie. I think that like a series, like a Netflix series or a HBO series would be the thing to do. We talked about Magus, and we talked about like if Benedict Cumberbatch got himself like really jacked, he could be Magus. Like if he really worked out and became like huge. Tanya had her thoughts on it. I wish I could remember. Anto is a difficult one, but oh god, I can't remember. I mean, I think that Anto, like, who I think could play Anto if he was a little younger would be David Tennant, because he plays a great villain. If you haven't watched the Netflix series from Marvel, Jessica Jones, which was fantastic, he was super creepy in that. I don't know, though. I've given it thought in the past, but I haven't given it too much thought now. Let me know who you think would play these characters in a movie or a show. 34th in Crenshaw says, are you a blood? Don't answer me. I don't need to know. He says, Toon Inside does look like Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, but he's a good guy. Trying to get together with him to do some sort of collaboration, but haven't managed to actually talk to him yet. The Undertaker says, I really wasn't looking forward to seeing that Ghostbusters movie either. I was more into seeing that Ninja Turtles movie, and I still haven't yet, but by watching the trailers to it, it looks great. But the main reason is because finally Bebop and Rocksteady and Krang are in it, and that's really what all the Ninja Turtles fans wanted. When James and Mike reviewed it, that was the first thing James mentioned, because they were on the same page as I was, because ever since the first movie we wanted them in it. We thought they would never get in it. Mike mentioned how they show Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady in the trailer, even though he almost said shower by mistake, which made me laugh. I loved how when James said it out loud out of excitement that they were finally a Ninja Turtles live-action film, he waited just as long as I did to see them in live action, and who knows, Necro, maybe in the next one we will see a more live-action version to different villains. I have a feeling we might see Baxter Stockman mutate into the Fly in the next one. Well, actually, I believe Tyler Perry said that he would come back if they did that, so... or maybe the Rat King will show up, or perhaps Leatherhead. I actually think Leatherhead is a good choice because he was in the comics and the show, so there's like different versions of him to pull from. I saw that Technodrome was finally in at this time. Anyway, it's good seeing you're doing well, and I hope everything continues to go great for you, Necro. Well, not everything goes great, but right now things are going okay, so thank you for the comment. There's only one more, but it's that idiot saying first. So, alright, thank you guys for the comments. I wanted to talk about E3. I didn't want to ramble on too long, because I did want to do a stream. I did want to do a stream after this. It's like 1 a.m. right now, but... Okay. So, E3, the biggest game. I mean, like, there's so many things coming out of it, but the big thing, like, everybody wanted to see what was going to come out of Nintendo. And everybody knew that the primary focus was going to be The Legend of Zelda. And I was sort of disappointed at first that was going to be the only focus, and then they expanded it to, oh yes, we'll be showing other games, and they have. They showed, like, for example, Dragon Quest VII in its completed, or near to be completed form for the 3DS, the Dragon Quest VII remake, that is, and it does have a firm release date. It's going to be released in September, so I'm very excited about that. And they've been showing that Shin Megami Tensei game that has Fire Emblem stuff in it. I forget what it's called, but it's like a really weird name. I'm actually going to have to look it up right now, because if you guys heard about the Shin Megami Tensei crossover with Fire Emblem for the Wii U like ages ago, and you were wondering like what came of that, or like what is it called, it's got the weirdest name. It doesn't have Shin Megami Tensei in the title. It's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE for Fire Emblem. I haven't looked at it much. It looks like a very, very strange game. I think it kind of angles more towards the Persona side of Shin Megami Tensei, at least in its presentation, but we'll have to see. I don't know what the hell it has to do with Fire Emblem, other than having some characters that look like they came out of Fire Emblem. I don't know, man. That's weird shit. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or as I call it, Legend of Zelda Far Cry Primal. This game looks fantastic. It's obviously inspired by Far Cry Primal. It's obviously inspired by Don't Starve. But, wow. Now, apparently, this is coming out for the Wii U. It does not have a release date other than 2017. But it's also coming out for their next console, codenamed NX. And I'm going to talk about new consoles in a little bit. But holy shit, does this game look fantastic. My interest in the Wii U is sort of a 5 out of 10. You know, there are games I want to play, but I don't necessarily want to get a Wii U to play them. I'm actually more interested in getting PlayStation 4 right now. But, you know, the Wii U is pretty cool. It's just... it's just... I don't want to buy too many consoles, you know? But I gotta say, this game looks fantastic. It looks really cool. It is open world. It is seamless. It's got all this hunting and gathering stuff in it, all this survivalist stuff. It's got Link is somewhat customizable, it seems. It just looks really fucking cool. It looks like a breath of fresh air. The Zelda series has needed this. I mean, I did not care for Skyward Schlong, you know, and while I loved the 3DS game, Link Between Worlds, I thought it was fantastic. I think that, like, there hasn't really been anything other than remakes since then. We got, you know, like, okay, there was Ocarina of Time 3D, there was Majora's Mask 3D, there was Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and I'm like, all right, you know, I'm all for that and everything, but, you know, how about a new game like, you know, as good as Link Between Worlds, or as good as Wind Waker was originally, or even as good as Twilight Princess was. Just something that's better than fucking Skyward Cock. Zelda looks fantastic. It's also going to be a launch game for the next system, which is why there is no release date, because that would be revealing when the next console's coming out, and Nintendo's keeping that close to the chest right now. Nintendo hasn't shown much else, but that in itself is enough. As to who won E3, I think it's safe to say that it was either Sony or Bethesda. Sony showed off just so many exclusives, so many games that are not exclusives but were featured at the PlayStation conference. I mean, like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was shown at the PlayStation conference. Now, that didn't go so well, even though the game looks good. It was a little awkward. It didn't fit into the conference. But the fact that, Activision has been showing off Call of Duty at the Xbox conference for ages, and then all of a sudden they swapped over to Sony. Both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox are getting upgrades, and I want to talk about this. And I talked about this ages ago in PotatoCast, and I said a big prediction of mine was somewhere within the next 5 to 10 years, console generations were going to be a thing of the past. And the big thing that happened is the Steam machines were released. And the Steam machines are basically Linux-based gaming PCs that use Steam. And you buy one, and you hook it up to your television, and if you have a Steam account and you have games on your Steam account, you already have those games. It's just like getting a new PC, except now you're playing. Wow, that was a long vibrate. I'm sorry, that just freaked me out a little. And then, like, let's say, your Steam machine gets kind of old and outdated, you want a new one, you upgrade to a new one, you get a new box, all your old games are still there, and so that's like a huge thing, and I think that that's a better model than what we've seen, that every 6 to 7 years, buying a new box, the old games don't work for it, you have to get a whole new library of games, new controllers and everything. It's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, there's a Steam controller. It's sitting right on my desk. I don't have a Steam machine, but I have a gaming PC, and I use Steam, and I have a Steam controller. But, like, what other controllers can you hook up to the Steam machines? Xbox controllers, PlayStation controllers, anything that's a fucking USB. So I think that was going to change the game. People don't want that. And especially since backwards compatibility has been an issue. The Wii played GameCube games. That was great. The Xbox 360 sort of had backwards compatibility. You had to update it. That was easy enough to do. And then you could play original Xbox games. PlayStation 3 at first played PS2 games, and then it didn't. PlayStation 4 does not play PlayStation 3 games. Xbox One only recently can play Xbox 360 games, and it's only select amount of games. The Wii U can play Wii games, but not GameCube games. And it's like, backwards compatibility is great, but better thing to do is to... I've always said this about things. It's sort of like the sports games that come out every year. They're just roster updates, incremental graphical updates. Don't do that. We don't want that. You know, do that through DLC. Like, if you're going to buy Madden, it should be once a generation you buy it, and then you buy roster updates for a cheaper price. You shouldn't have to buy a whole new disc. You know, and it's sort of the same thing with systems now. Sony said the PlayStation 5 is not necessarily a given, meaning that they're not currently working on it. They are committed to the PS4. Now, you heard about this little PS4.5 thing. They're calling it, I believe, the Neo update now, which is a more powerful PS4. Nintendo started this. They're ever the innovators. Nintendo started this with the new 3DS. It's a 3DS that's more powerful. It's not, you know, a whole new system. Yes, there are some games that will only run on new 3DS. You can't get Super NES games for Virtual Console on the old 3DS. But there's not that much of a difference, you know what I mean? Xbox One's getting the Scorpio update. So that's going to happen. Xbox shot themselves in the foot at E3, though. I mean, this Windows 10 is a great gaming platform, and I think that it's a great idea to bring Windows 10 to Xbox and make it more integrated. But your console is already suffering on exclusives. I mean, I was shocked to see Titanfall 2 at the Sony conference, because I thought that was an Xbox franchise. I didn't realize that that could go elsewhere. I mean, Titanfall 1, yes, it was on Windows, but I mean, Microsoft published it. So it's crazy now. It's going to be on PS4. Sony came out with exclusive after exclusive after exclusive. If there's anything that's going to make me want to buy a console, it's going to be exclusives. Bethesda did great. You know, they showed off a bunch of new Fallout stuff. They showed out a bunch of new Doom stuff, Doom DLC. They are embracing virtual reality, which I guess makes sense for Bethesda since almost all their games are in first person anyway. They showed virtual reality versions of Doom, virtual reality version of Fallout. I couldn't care less about that shit, but they teased possibly a new Wolfenstein game when the Bethesda conference started. There was this DOS prompt crawl that showed like folders for like their previous games. Not all the Bethesda games. It was the id Software stuff, you know. It was like Commander Keen and Doom and Wolfenstein. No Quake, which is interesting because they showed a new Quake, which is essentially like another Quake 3 sort of multiplayer game. So I don't care about it, but you know, that's cool. But under Wolfenstein, they had Wolfenstein 3D, Wolfenstein The New Order, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, and then something called The New Colossus. And I'm thinking, if there's a new Wolfenstein coming out called The New Colossus, I want it. I want it in me. I will put it in my pants. I will somehow, even though I'll get it on Steam, I'll put it in my pants somehow. Those last two Wolfenstein games are amazing. So, you know, the big winners of E3 so far, at least, Sony, Bethesda, and Nintendo. The losers, Ubisoft, Microsoft in a big way. Just dull, boring conference. EA just sucked. Nothing to say about that. I mean, but the big winner, though, the biggest winner of all, PlayStation, Sony. Bethesda had so many great games, but all their games are going to be multi-platform. They're going to be on PC, they're going to be on PlayStation, they're going to be on Xbox. So, but Sony came out with the exclusives. Another thing, Bethesda, I mean, they showed off more Dishonored 2, looking forward to that. They also showed, I just flew out of my head. Oh, the Skyrim remake. It's called Skyrim. People are calling it Skyrim Remastered. It's actually called Skyrim Special Edition. And it is the same thing as Skyrim. It's coming out for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and yes, there will be a PC version. And it's just a graphical overhaul. It looks really pretty, though. It's the same exact game, but it looks really pretty. The big difference is, for PS4 and Xbox One owners, you will finally get to play the game with mods. They are going to pick the best mods. They're going to have like a mod store sort of thing where you can pick what mods you want to download. And I say store, they're not going to be charging it, but it's sort of like that. And so mod support is coming to consoles for Skyrim, which is huge, and they'll probably do something similar with Fallout 4, I think. Oh, actually, they already did it with Fallout 4, so that's where that came from. Now, if you're thinking, I play Skyrim on PC, why would I get what is essentially a Skyrim mod, when I already have it? Because basically, Skyrim Special Edition is basically a mod. It is a graphical overhaul of the game. Why would you get it? Well, here's the thing. I think they realize that for PC players, there is a lot less incentive to get Skyrim Special Edition, especially since someone could go on Steamworks and make a mod that would essentially give you Skyrim Special Edition. So, what they did is, and I love them for this, Bethesda, your bay, they said that if you have either bought Skyrim and all 3 DLC packages, which would be, you bought Skyrim, you bought Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, or if you bought Skyrim Legendary Edition, which has everything in it, you will get Skyrim Special Edition for free through Steam only. But that's huge. That's cool. So I'm like, wow, I was gonna get it, and I was like, I hope it's not $60. And I don't mind buying Skyrim for a third time because it's one of my favorite games, but I want to spend $60 on it the third time. So I was hoping it would be discounted. And then when I saw free, that was a pretty heavy discount. So that's pretty cool. Apparently, all the old mods will still work with Skyrim Special Edition for PC. I wonder if saves will be compatible. Although I'd probably just start the game from scratch anyway. But that is super fucking cool. Thank you, Bethesda. Thank you, Sony. I gotta say, one game that I was not excited for, but I am starting to become excited for, is King of Fighters 14. When it was first shown with a teaser trailer, it looked bad. It looked somehow, even though it's on PS4, it looked like a PS2 game. The graphics, they're still not, amazing, but it's starting to shape up. It's starting to look better. It seems to have a pretty big roster. The gameplay looks tight. I want to check that out. The game that I'm most looking forward to was announced well before E3. Shown off well before E3. There was a trailer. There were gameplay demos. But they've shown it at E3 as well. Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I mean, yes. Yes, please. They've announced... So far, they've confirmed America, China, and Egypt. And I think Emperor Qin is a leader of China. For Egypt, it's Cleopatra. And for America, it's Teddy Roosevelt. And they've talked about some of the gameplay changes. The graphics look really interesting. Some people are getting all butthurt about the graphics because it has a stylized sort of cartoon map look to it, and some people are like, oh, it looks like a mobile game, it looks like trash, therefore this game is trash. Sort of like the Ghostbusters thing, like this movie is trash. I haven't seen it, but it's trash. They're saying the same thing. Another game that people are reacting very badly to, by the way, from Nintendo is the new Paper Mario game coming out for the Wii U. I think it looks fucking fantastic. The graphics look amazing. And Paper Mario is always fun, and people are like, this game is trash because it's not like Paper Mario on N64. It's not like Paper Mario 2 for GameCube, that it's going to be more like Sticker Star. I mean, I fucking love Sticker Star, and some of these people are so misinformed. They're like, Sticker Star didn't even sell good. Why are you, rehashing it? And I'm like, man, you look at the sales figures. Sticker Star sold better than the first 2 games put together. It was a hit. Of course they're going to make another one like it. And guess what? It got really good reviews. Yes, there were some people that were Paper Mario purists, and they wanted it to be more RPG and less quirky. Nintendo's quirky. You gotta remember, even though Paper Mario was very much an RPG, it was a fucking quirky RPG. Even though Thousand Year Door for GameCube was a fucking masterpiece, it was weird. There was an audience watching battles, and it participated in shit. So I think the game looks fantastic, but then there are people like, this game is trash, Nintendo, and it's like, wow, you haven't played it! Sorry, I'm just answering Andrew. Apparently, he just told somebody that they look like Pauly Shore after a severe head injury. And I told him that he's awful and that I approve. So anyway, here's my E3 thoughts. Winners and losers games I'm excited for. Obviously, Civilization 6. That's coming out in October. That's the most exciting thing for me. Dishonored 2. Possibly a new Wolfenstein. They haven't shown it. They haven't even announced it, but it was teased. Yeah. I don't have much else to say, and I do want to stream. So I'm going to cut it off here, guys. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you thought of E3, what you thought the winners and losers were, and just leave me comments in general. I'll see you guys next Thursday for more Potato Cast.